All right, so we've sent the batch through. We got fortunate in that everything went to the same warehouse, so no splits. So unfortunately, we're not going to show you how to handle that. If you ended up with splits, essentially you're going to start with a smaller one first. So if you have 10 books that got split out of 57, go find those, and you can do that by looking at just the titles. And again, we have a SKU number on them, so they started at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I left them in order as we listed. So within Amazon, actually, you could go over. Let me start recording here. Hang on. You could actually go over to Amazon, open up that batch, and you could see the items that are in there. So you could actually say review and modify units, and you'll see, and again, because we have the SKU, so 1, 10, 11, 12, they're going to be in order here. Unfortunately, 2 shows up just in front of 20, just the way Amazon does this. But you could use that number and quickly find those books, peel the 10 off, and then what we're going to show you here, you do the exact same thing. My personal preference, and I've got a video in the notes below, is to list one box at a time. So I do exactly what we did, but instead of listing all 57, I would have been filling a box as we go, checking the weight, making sure I stay under 50 pounds. And as soon as that box was full, or we reached 49.9 pounds, I would have stopped the batch, closed the listing, crossed my fingers, hope for no splits. Usually I don't get them. For whatever reason, I usually don't. Sometimes you will. I would close the batch. When you do one box, the real benefit there is you don't have to do box contents. So the whole step we're about to show you, you can skip. Simply fill the box. If it's all going to one place, close it, buy shipping, label the box, drop it off at UPS or FedEx, game over, on to the next box. So this batch would have been 2 boxes. Instead, we're going to have to do what's called box contents. So in Accelerlist, they've got a really neat tool for this. We're going to go over to lists and say box contents. What this is going to do is it's actually going to pull our unfinished shipment. So you can see the one we just created, August 29, 2018, going to Long Beach, or LGB 8s. We're going to click on that. It's going to have this nice interface that has all the items that are supposed to go there, and they all right now show 0 out of 1 because we haven't shipped any of them. We're going to add a box, and then what we're going to do is we're simply going to scan all of the items into the box. Now there's not too much science when it comes to filling a box. We're going to just wedge as many books as we can in there, sort of like a game of Tetris. If we have to, we'll put a little dunnage or some paper in there, but in reality, books are super durable. I want to start with bigger books if we can, and all we're going to do is scan this FNSKU, which is the Amazon label. So we're going to scan that. It's going to pop up and say, yep, we've got it. It's adding that to the box for us, and we're simply going to place that in the box and then rinse and repeat. So I'm just going to work my way through. Again, there's not really a particular order. I'm just scanning the books as they go into the box and filling the box this way. Making sure everything gets scanned. And then Accelerlist is actually going to upload this to Amazon for us. And our job is done. So this is one more time to touch the books, but again, the software is going to make this pretty efficient. And we're pretty much going to fill the box. If we have a ton of textbooks, you got to be careful because a box this size, this is 18 inches by 12 by I think 9. A box of textbooks could easily exceed 50 pounds. In this case, we're probably going to be under it, but as we get close to the end, we'll go ahead and weigh it. And again, having a barcode scanner, this is a $20 or $30 investment, is probably one of the best things you can do in your business. So I've got 2 levels of box, 2 layers of books in this box, and then I'm just going to fill in the cracks and just stand the books up vertically. If you want to try and put hardcover books along the edges, you can. That'll certainly be a little more protective. But again, books are pretty durable. I'm not too worried about the condition that they're going to show up in. And ultimately, Amazon's going to knock these around their warehouse a little bit anyway. So they're going to get a little dinged up. That's why we sell them in used condition. And I just noticed we left the price tag on this one. So I'm just going to grab a white label and cover that up as well. Again, you could use a Scotty peeler and get that off if you wanted to, or just go like that. Got room for a few more. I'll try and pick and choose on my sizes. closer to 50. Okay, we've got a box pretty much full. I could probably fit a few more small books in there. I want to make sure we're not really close to 50 pounds. So I've got this scale set up here. I've turned it on. I like this scale for a couple reasons. One, it's pretty small, so I can travel with it. It doesn't take up too much room. Two, it's got a nice monitor here, so I can get a box on it and I can still see how heavy the box is. The downside is it's a pretty small platform, so you do have to make sure the box is evenly weighted and kind of balanced on there. They do make some scales with some bigger platforms. You can certainly look for those, but if you're on a nice hard surface like this, it's going to work. So we are at just under 35 pounds, no problems there. I am going to scan just a few more books into it, because rather than filling it with dunnage or paper, I'd rather fill it with books. And within Accelerlist as well, let's say I scan one and I actually don't have room, you can simply hit the delete button and get out of it that way. So don't worry about that. And at this point, I'm probably going to say we are full. So again, if you can peek in there with the camera, I can fill this. Again, I do have a little bit of room. These books may slide around a little bit. I do have some paper over there I could crumple up and put in here. I'm actually not worried about this. Again, I'm not selling anything as new. I'm simply going to close this up and be done. So this is box one. It weighs 35 pounds and 15 ounces. All you have to do is round up. So I'm just going to say it's 30. Now it's changing on me. Make sure it's balanced. It's going to be 36 pounds. So I would take a marker. I'm going to write box one, 36 pounds. And I'm going to set this box aside. I'm going to go do the next thing. Because I don't have that many books, I'm actually just going to use a smaller box and we'll get those out the door. So we'll fill that up and come right back. All right, we're back. We've got one box here. And like I said, I always like to label these. So I'm just going to say box one, and it was 35 pounds. It was 34 and change. We're just going to say 35 LBS. So that one's marked. It's not as important with smaller batches, but when you do end up with a batch of books that's 15 boxes, you do want to keep in mind which one's which. I've got box two. I found a smaller box that just happened to fill it. I am going to put a little extra paper in this just because I do have a gap, which you can see. So I'm going to weigh this now. It's just over 21 pounds. Let me grab some paper, and that shouldn't add too much. Let me just show you this. So I got just a roll of paper, painter's paper. Painter's paper. There's another term for it, but this is like $5 or $6, and it'll last for a lot of batches. So it's got a little bit of heft to it. It's like a brown paper bag from the grocery store. And I'm just gonna tuck that in there just so those books aren't moving around. You could kind of fill all the space. Again, it's not that important. Books are pretty durable. So we're still under 22, so I'm gonna say number two and 22 pounds. So we're done labeling. At this point, we're gonna close out of the shipment within Accelerlist. So we'll switch over and show the screen here. We've added box number two, we've got that. So 15 books are in here. Looks like we fit 40 in the other one. So we're done. We're gonna go ahead and say print label. And this is going to generate a PDF for us. And we'll go ahead and print. And off we go. Okay, so we're printing box number two, the label right now. Then we're gonna say go back and we can work on box one. There we go. So go ahead and print that. And we're gonna go ahead and print this. Let me grab label two before I forget which is which. So I've got label two, looks just like this. It's gonna go on the outside of the box. We're gonna put clear tape on it. So I'm just gonna tuck that on box two so we don't forget. And box one is going to go here into box one. It's gonna go on the outside, actually, so Amazon can scan it when it gets to the warehouse. And last but not least, let's close out some shipping for this. So we're gonna come back into here. We've got prepare shipment, summary, and we can skip all this because everything's already packaged up. If you didn't have a Dymo printer and didn't use software, you could print labels on 30-up address labels from here at this point. That means you have to go back and find the books and relabel them. So it's super efficient to label them up front. So FedEx is actually a little cheaper as of the time of this video. So we're gonna go FedEx. We're gonna set what's up. So we're gonna say more than 1 SKU per box, and we're gonna say use 2D barcodes, which is what we did through AccelerList. So now we don't have to tell Amazon which goes where. We're gonna set the total boxes to 2, and we're gonna set the weights. And remember, because we wrote them on our boxes, it's pretty easy. Box 1 is 35. You don't really need to put dimensions in. You can just kind of guesstimate, especially with books. You're never going to get into a situation where it's too heavy. Box 2 is 22 pounds, and I'm just going to guess 18 by 9 by 9. Again, you can leave the dimensions off if you want. So we got 57 pounds, which is kind of funny because it was 57 books. We're going to calculate, and going to California, it's about 18 bucks. So not bad. If we were to factor that in, divided by 57, we're looking at 33 cents a pound. It's not terrible. Again, we're in the middle of nowhere in Colorado. Say you agree, accept the charges, and then it's going to generate labels that we can print out as well. So you can get address labels for free from UPS. I'm sure some people use the UPS labels. We're just going to, we may do that as well. So we're going to say print box labels, and we're going to print those out. Let me throw some labels in the printer, and we'll wrap this up momentarily. So I've gone ahead and loaded up some labels in the printer that'll make this a little bit easier to manage. It's generated all this for me. It knows which one is 1 versus 2. We're going to go ahead and print this. And while that's printing, we're almost done. One thing I do want to mention is within Amazon, the 2D barcode option. If you have not enabled that within your account on the back end of Seller Central through Amazon, that won't show up as an option. So make sure you follow the instructions within AccelerList on how to do that, and that'll be there. You can use the web form. You can use a upload file, so you can use like a spreadsheet. It's going to be a lot easier if you use that tool through AccelerList. Sorry. So 2 other things to do. One, we want to make sure we get our data back out. So our shipping cost is $18.57. We're done with this interface. We're actually going to go back to our batch and go find our history. We're going to view our completed batches and grab the most recent one, which is what we just did. And we're going to export to the tracking spreadsheet. If you don't have that, then this is not a step you need to do. We're going to say we shipped it today on the 29th. Shipping cost was $18.57. So we're going to go ahead and export this to the tracking sheet. That gives us a file we can actually put into the tracking sheet. Now we've got all of our costs, our source, and we can manage all of our data from this. I usually throw this into Google Drive and then upload this into the spreadsheet once a month. And just a couple last thoughts here. Again, we got 57 units listed. Our average sales rank was pretty good. Again, our average list price was just under $15, so not as high as I would like to see, but the average rank was pretty healthy in the 400,000 range. I'm not real concerned even if that number gets up close to 1 million. I like to deal with some of the longer tail items. I don't mind having a few items that are ranked 3, 4, 5 million. The lower this number is, the faster you're going to sell your inventory. So let me grab those labels. So here they are, and we're simply going to close up the boxes. We're going to tape this to the outside of the box as well, and we're going to put these labels on the top and get these batches out the door.